It's felt too long, mate.
It's been a while. It's been a moment, mate. It's been a moment.
It's been a sweet,
All I
sweet
can say is
moment.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for my round two, my part deux of Le Covede.
Le Covid nothing.
It was delightful. It was absolutely delightful. It came with a lovely persistent cough, lovely little sore throat. Felt like daggers in the old throat. It's gorgeous,
Pretty cool.
gorgeous. I mean, it was one of your standard kind of appetite, palated COVID situations for me. It wasn't too bad. It was awful, but it wasn't too bad. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't that bad. It was
Yeah.
bad, but it wasn't that bad.
Did the family get it? Did the whole family
No,
get it?
no,
No.
no.
Oh,
I fly
forgot.
solo.
But don't fly solo, mate, or whatever you do. How was France?
Oh
How
my
was
gosh.
Le Disneyland Paris?
Yeah, have you noticed that I'm wearing my Groot hat?
Oh, now I have.
Mate.
I did think, why is he wearing a hat inside? That's the reason.
That is the whole reason. Right, I want you to guess how much this cost.
Disneyland Paris,
Yeah.
Groot merchandise,
Yeah.
no cheaper than... It can't be any cheaper than €20.
Cool, you're close. Sort of.
Oh, €23.
Cost me €26. Close to 30. It's the most expensive hat I've
That
spent
is-
on ever. Ever. Oh, Rachel's here. Perfect time because Rachel's also got a hat as well. Do you want to show Forrest and tell the whole podcast your hat?
Oh, mate.
Ready?
Here she is.
Right. I've got a Groot, but look what Rachel
No,
says.
wait. No, it's too...
So it's a Captain America hat
Shut up.
that
Wait,
lights
wait.
up.
But it's got different settings, look.
Oh my god, it's like a disco on Rachel's head. That is unbelievable. That is...
Isn't that incredible?
Are you
That is
hiding? Where are you?
How do I know I do? No, I'm currently in Sophie's parents' summer house. I'm in Sophie's parents' summer house. And there's a mini fridge to my left. Well, there's a table where he set up, he's doing his mortgage advice company. Her dad owns a mortgage advice company, HT Consultants. I might as well get some free advertising out there. He will love that.
Episode is sponsored
Episode.
by
HT Consultants.
Consultants.
Oh,
For all of your mortgage needs.
it looks really nice.
It's alright. It's very nice. I feel I'm outside, but inside. The
That's
premise
exactly
of
what summer house is, isn't it?
that's what I like about it. I'm one with nature, but away from nature.
I'm also very
But away
far
from
away
it at the
from
same
the
time.
nature.
Exactly. You don't want to get too close to nature.
Too close.
I
too
want to
close.
feel
You're
like I'm near
such
it.
townies.
I want to be inside it though.
I want to see that butterfly on the window, but not in my face.
Oh yeah, so yeah, Forrest did actually ask about Disney. So yeah, we'll give you a quick little anecdote then. So we I think it was a Saturday night. We managed to get some
Matt's a liar.
time away from kids.
Matt lied to me.
Okay, so I said to Rach, well, I tell you what then, let's go to Avengers Campus together
Like, why don't
and
we
go
spend
nerd
some
out.
time together, just you and me, and
Yeah.
Go on the spiderweb slinger ride.
So we went to go on we went to go on the Spider-Man ride,
There
right?
wasn't much webbing
Kind
to
of
be
like
done. Yep.
and that wasn't the kind
different type of webbing.
of
Oh yeah.
Right.
We went on a single rider, didn't we? Because the
So-
single rider wait time was like 10 minutes or something.
Matt said it was 10 minutes. Bullshit.
No, but it did say it's dead on the screen above.
Okay.
It was about 10 minutes.
It was the first Saturday of the ride. It had only been open since Wednesday.
Yeah.
And by this point, it's Saturday.
Nice.
So we get in the single rider queue. We get in.
Yeah.
We decide we're going to go and watch the pre-show,
Oh.
which was flipping brilliant
It was really good.
with Tom Holland in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It was
Oh,
great.
I've seen a picture
Yeah.
of
Really
this.
cool.
It was really good. Then I think something had gone wrong with the single rider and regular rider queues, and everyone ended up standing in the same place. I think that's the only thing I could think.
I don't know.
And basically, we were then in this it's not like queuing, a regular sort of queuing system. You are just in a huge concrete building, and then all of a sudden there's no way out.
It was narrow as well. It's
So
like a narrow
we
corridor.
turned the corner, and there were all these people, and then people who had been slightly ahead of us in the single rider queue were way, way ahead of us now, and we're not moving. So then I panicked
Oh, here we
and
go.
cried.
It was
Classic.
Because
Classic.
I was like, oh, we are actually stuck. Oh, now I feel like I can't breathe. Oh, okay. I think I might be having. Okay, right. Let's try and push open the emergency exit door. Oh, it's not opening. I'm sure with a good hefty slam it would have done, but I was then also embarrassed,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
around a lot of people, so I was just So anyway, turn around, walk round the corner, and this other guy is also leaving.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Here we go.
And this
You've got a
lady
friend.
says,
You've made a friend.
Kicked off. We've got a friend.
We
Made
did.
a friend. And this lady working said, "Oh, do you not want to go on the ride?" She went, "No, this is taking too long."
It was South
Wow.
African, by the way. It's a
That's
South
that-
African
No,
accent.
I'm not. That's not one of my accents. I know. I'm sorry. It's not one of my better
Wow.
ones. I
thought
apologise.
she might be French, in which case that was so far off the radar. South African, kind of appreciate it. Yep.
Okay.
Sort of there, yeah.
So yeah, we then walked together through the Avengers campus, and
Yeah.
he said he'd left all of his family had left him. They were back over in the main Disney park, and he was just doing some Avengers stuff. So then we got on the single rider queue with him for
The actual
the
Avengers ride,
actual Avengers ride,
which used to be Rock and Roller Coaster.
and literally just walked onto it. Matt and I were on the single rider queue. We sat next to each other.
We actually threatened a cast member verbally
No.
as we went in.
No, that
because,
sounds...
because
No.
we said to him, "How long's the
No.
wait?" And he was like, "Ooh, about 5 minutes."
Okay,
and
this
I was like,
whole
"Well,
action
it
is-
should be."
He's French.
Really.
Really, yeah, okay. This whole no, and it's all just sounding a little bit like we're very horrible English people who've gone on holiday and now doing silly accents.
No,
He said,
we were joking. We were jesting.
said-
It's banter, mate. Banter.
"What's the queue time?" He said 10 minutes, and me, still in my panic state, went, "Is it though? Is it 10 minutes?"
Oh. Wow.
he
You
said,
two really setting a fucking image for
is it?
yourselves here. That is.
Is it 10 minutes? Then he said, "I do hope so. If not, you can come back and kick me."
He did say that. For the record.
I
For the
thought he
podcast,
said
did say
I
that.
thought he said kiss me, and he was quite pretty, so I was excited for a couple of seconds.
But he
then
wasn't
I
wrong.
realised
He
what
wasn't
he had
wrong, was
actually
he?
said.
It was a 5 minute, well, less than 5 minute wait. It was
Yeah.
literally walked straight on into the pre-show,
And then-
which was an animatronic of
Oh
Iron
my god,
Man.
it was so cool!
Like literally, Iron Man was in front of us, moving.
And
it was incredible.
our friend from South Africa, who now lives in Manchester,
Yeah.
who might be listening to this because I was talking about it quite loudly,
Oh my god, that would be brilliant.
As in this podcast.
as in this podcast.
Yeah.
We got off the ride and we jumped off, and he stopped and he looked at us and he said, "Oh my god, that was amazing. I'm going on that again."
We are here to do another film review, and it is the penultimate film of Phase 2. It is Avengers Age of Ultron.
Here we are. Yes, Avengers Age
Right.
of Ultron, penultimate film. Right, can I open the beer now? I'm going to pipe it up. I'm just going to
Yeah, can I do it with you as well? I've got one as well.
Yeah. Here we go.
What, you first? Oh, I did mine at the same time. Ow. I just hurt my fingernails there.
I'll tell you what, the ASMR part of the last podcast was probably my favourite part, mate. The sounds.
it was
just
lovely, wasn't it?
glorious.
Absolutely lovely. Right, well, what are you drinking, mate? What are you drinking?
So I'm drinking Crack and Ruin IPA. and this is.
I literally thought you just meant crack. Full stop.
I am drinking crack. That's where we are in the podcast. I'm in the in-laws' house. I thought, let's get hefty. No,
Let's get straight to it.
Yeah, get crack on. Crack on for crack and ruin. So yeah, lovely hoppy beer. This is by the same company, the Oyster Company. Sophie's friends at the Oyster Company. I'm doing well too many shout outs. What are you drinking?
Well, it's really underwhelming. It was a panic buy past weekend because it was just a bit hot, and I really wanted some beer, so I just got some San Miguel. So that's what I'm drinking right now. It's not my favourite, not the worst. It will do. Gonna drink it.
Lovely jubbly. So let me read the synopsis of Avengers Age of Ultron. Are you ready?
Let's go for it.
When Tony Stark jumpstarts a dormant peacekeeping program, things go terribly awry, forcing him, Thor, the Incredible Hulk, and the rest of the Avengers to reassemble. As the fate of Earth hangs in the balance, the team is put to the ultimate test as they battle Ultron, a technological terror hell-bent on human extinction. Along the way, they encounter two mysterious and powerful newcomers, Pietro and Wanda Maximoff.
Like it. I like it a lot. Sounds good. It's informative. What's your, to get initial thoughts, let's just go straight to it. Forrest, what was your initial thoughts on this movie, mate?
Absolutely incredible. I've got to say straight off the bat something. It might be controversial for you, but the civilian scenes towards the end of the end of the film, absolutely to die for. Magic. I couldn't ask for more. Beautiful scenes. Very good. This is top tier Marvel at its finest. Not without its issues. There's definitely a couple of issues. I think sometimes it kind of struggles with the balance of spending time with certain characters. I do feel like we get a lot of time. We kind of get a lot of time with Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, and that. For me, the franchise as a whole hasn't really lent on their relationship as much as they should have done. Them two are brilliant in this film, and I'd quite like them to have their own film elsewhere, but it never really goes that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's really awesome action moments. There's really wonderful delivery on certain lines as well. I've got a little list as well on lines that I just absolutely chef kiss. So good. Do you know what? When I was watching, I was about half an hour through and thinking, is this a Russo's movie? Did the Russos do this? And no, they didn't. It is a Joss Whedon direction, and actually, I'm quite surprised by it. It had quite a Russo brothers edge to it, especially the first half of the movie, and then it kind of moved into kind of like, this is Joss Whedon, I get it. This is big, this is epic, there's lots of action, some of the funny lines in there, and lots of puns, all that kind of stuff. But I really, really enjoyed it, and again, watching it again, knowing what's happening, what's going on, what's in the foreseeable future for these characters at this point in time in the timeline, there were some lines that I was like, oh my god, is that this? So I'm really keen to talk to you about certain things and certain theories that I might have with a certain character and what happens in phase 3 and phase 4 as well. It's a great movie. I really enjoyed it.
It's fantastic, and I really it was this film, I think, that I cannot wait for Thanos now. This film well and truly brings in the Infinity Stones. Right, we've had it kind of layered here and there, but now I'm ready for Thanos to turn up and for a lot of shit to go down.
100%. Like, you get this kind of lead, especially the last act of the movie. It then just punches you in the stomach, doesn't it? You go, oh, there's something much bigger, that's coming. These stones mean something, and it kind of really defines and threads through kind of the end game, which is something that Iron Man, and this is something from a character's developmental standpoint, you can see that Iron Man has had his trilogy, and Tony Stark is this very, Robert Downey Jr.'s depiction of Tony Stark is very much of a well-rounded part of the kind of Avengers, saga. But like, there is a moment where you can see Tony Stark's going, "What? Where is this taking us?" And there were moments in Tony Stark's character where I wish there was that in the third one, because he's in this one you can see that he's got massive effects from New York. He's put things into place, and he's trying to sort of protect himself and others of another alien invasion. You don't really get that in the third Iron Man movie for whatever reason. You just kind of get the PTSD a little bit, but not kind of the I've got to stop another alien invasion incoming. There's some really cool bits with Thor. I think there's some bits I didn't like with Thor. There's we'll get to it in a moment, but like in running down the characters, I really loved Clint's story. I thoroughly enjoyed Hulk and Natasha Romanoff's kind of flirtation and romance bit, and I wish there was more, and I really wish it was followed through.
Yeah, I do. I feel like they that was one that they absolutely could have kept going, especially because they needed a decent Hulk film. So actually, by having that, aren't you setting up the premise of a decent Hulk film? Is that actually you could have had Black Widow and a Hulk film would have been so far like left field, but actually would have been insanely good. Two completely different types of powers, but you've got a lovely little romance story, which we don't normally have in Marvel. So
exactly. But anyway, the film kicks off with, basically you as an audience just going straight back into what the Avengers are. They're on a mission. They're out there trying to get the scepter that's currently in the hands of Hydra. And you see them have an awesome little sequence of action. The Hulk's there smashing stuff up. You get to see that they're all on the same level, and they're kind of. There's like really cool moments with Cap and Thor and the way that they're using the hammer and the shield, and that's kind of threaded through in the film and obviously then towards the rest of the Avengers movies as well. And then they managed to get that, don't they?
Yeah, I will say right off the bat, and I don't know. Yeah, right off the bat, I thought the CGI was a little bit dodgy in that first action.
Oh, I've got that as a note.
I thought it was majorly
throughout the movie,
dodgy.
mate.
But I do. For the first scene in the film, that is some of the dodgiest CGI action sequence I've ever seen. There's just a lot of like wonky stuff in the background and like whizzes across the screen. I'm just like, I'm not really. I don't know. Lower budget, didn't spend a lot of time on it. But first scene in the film, I think, Christ alive, I'd rather there was less. But actually gave me more, if you know what I mean.
There were that was definitely one thing that I noticed in that first scene. But I think there were moments throughout the movie where there were sequences where it felt the CGI was a little bit unfinished. There was a moment towards the end of the movie where it's just Thor and Ultron having a fight, and you can see Ultron's got Thor by the neck, and you can just see him trying to hold the arm that's obviously not there. And you're just like, oh, that's really clunky. And you can see that it's not actually an arm. It's not, it doesn't make sense. It just, I think that might have been it wasn't ready. It had to go out at that point, and they didn't have any time.
Yeah, definitely. But yes, we go straight back into Hydra. We go straight back to the fact that we've met the twins. What do you think of Wanda and Pietro? What do you think?
The introduction to Wanda and Pietro. You can see that they don't really know what to do with Wanda's story. You can see in this movie that Wanda's, the story that Wanda has now is so layered. There's so much that is integral to the MCU with her character now. But you can see that wasn't fully cemented in terms of where things are going with her. It felt quite, their story, as much as they were, in the plot quite a lot, there were just kind of moments where nothing really was explained. Like their backstory was literally explained in a conversation, I think, with Clint or who were they talking to? I think they might have been talking to either Clint or Natasha about their history and the fact that their house got blown up with Stark Tech and they were submerged under the Stark Tech. You can see how young Elizabeth Olsen is in this movie.
Yes.
Fuck.
At this point, I then realised that she was young. We had this whole conversation like in the last podcast or the podcast before, and I was like, "No, she ain't that young." And actually, no, 100%, I can
She
appreciate
absolutely
that she's
is.
young. But I would agree. I think Patchy. I mean, Christ, like, should we go straight to the accent for Wanda? That then
that's
literally wanders off at different occasions throughout the films. No one can really explain why it's like that. You got the Russo brothers, and you got Elizabeth. You got different people saying different reasons why she loses an accent, gains an accent. I'm like, in reality, they just thought the accent was a bit shit, so occasionally we get rid of it.
That's literally that was quite off-putting, I think, for this movie. But also, we haven't mentioned Aaron Johnson's performance as Quicksilver. I needed more time with that character. We needed more of a background. If Disney Plus existed back then, that's when you get a Quicksilver series, to learn a little bit more about the character before this movie comes out. Or, I don't know, shorts. I don't know, something. I didn't really grasp Aaron Johnson's performance. I didn't really get it. It was a bit 2D. There wasn't much detail coming out of his performance. The way that they flick between being villains to then go, oh, actually, no, this is not a good idea. We're going to go straight into being an Avenger. That all happened really quickly.
Far too quickly. And I feel like this film deals with a lot. There is a lot in this film. But equally, I wouldn't want another film. Like, I wouldn't want it to be a split two-parter.
I 100%.
It's too much. Like, Ultron's that's a massive deal. Like, huge scientific breakthrough for Tony Stark to even create him, right? Let alone finding out more about the arc just seems to. I feel like Ultron should have but this is Iron Man 3. I feel like Ultron should have been
exactly, mate.
Should have been the third
my
act
notes
of Iron Man 3. Third act, his creation. We start to see Ultron, and then he comes back. For this film.
Absolutely. See, that is literally. I wrote that in my notes. I think the second half of Iron Man 3 should have been the introduction to Ultron. It should have been Tony coming up with it. Get Bruce Banner in that conversation. Have those scenes that we had in Ultron in the first act of this movie in the third Iron Man movie, because then it threads through. It gives Ultron more time as well. James Spader is an incredible actor. It's so good.
I would say James has definitely had some poor parts. Like, I don't. He's a great actor, but he can be shit. But his voice for Ultron, insane.
So good. And he needed more time. I think that antagonist and that villain needed to be threaded through a little bit more, because this is the thing, like you say, it's a huge part of the comics, and I think that's where it fell short originally, and it got some flack, because if you for any hardcore MCU comic fans or Marvel comic fans, they probably would have felt a little bit shortchanged on the lack of more Ultron in other movies. And James Spader's performance is really good as the voice. It's charming, it's threatening, it's endearing, and also, and this is the perfect. I might as well talk about it now. So there's there were moments in the film where you could sort of see when Ultron was created, it was created on the basis of being of a shield, or effectively being used as a safe haven for any alien threat, and it being capable of deterring that for the future, for the Earth. But from an Avengers standpoint, obviously they're there to protect the Earth from any kind of threat. What happens here is that these lines, and I listen to these lines, and I'm not gonna put on an Ultron's voice, but
Really?
Because
hang on. We got South African and French, but you're not putting on Ultron.
it's because I'm really into it, and I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to fuck this up. Right, so Ultron says these lines when I think this is in the scene of when Wanda and Pietro are with Ultron, and I think they're currently uploading the Vision. Effectively, they're trying to upload Ultron onto the Vision's body. Okay, and he says, when the Earth starts to settle, God throws a stone at it. He's winding up. Right? That's one line. Okay, when the Earth starts to settle, God throws a stone at it. He's winding up. Now, what I get from that line is that God is Thanos. Okay, and a stone is literally an infinity stone.
Wow.
Because this is the thing, right? When the Earth starts to settle, God throws a stone at it. Now, the Earth, as in Earth, have now, in this phase 2, encountered multiple infinity stones.
Yeah.
And then he says, he's winding up, which makes me think that he's winding up his fist. So I get the sense that Thanos, and I don't know, I need someone out there in the listening to the podcast now. I need either Nathan, I need Ed, I need anybody else that's listening that can give me some more.
Belgium.
Bob from Belgium. I want you to find this out and kind of fact check this with me. But my theory is that Thanos can see, or at least channel and communicate to Ultron through this movie, because then he also then says in the same scene to Wanda and Pietro, we have to evolve. There's no room. There's no room.
Shut up. Oh my god, man. You are blowing a lid off of this, mate.
Like, bro, when I heard these lines, I was like, wait, what? So is this Thanos channeling through Ultron to then go, okay, no, you've got to do... He's literally... And he talks about puppet on a string, doesn't he? He says, there's no strings on me, I'm free. But actually, I think Thanos is holding the strings on Ultron the whole time. He also says, later in the last act of the movie, he says, when they see, they'll understand. Do you see it? The inevitability. Who says inevitable? Thanos. Thanos says, I am inevitable. And then at the end, obviously we'll get to the end credit sequence, he then says a line that makes me feel like that this theory is pretty much confirmed.
But also, right, just chuck out the first line at me again.
When the Earth starts to settle, God throws a stone at it. He's winding up.
Right. Stone. Winding. What was the next line?
Well, that's it. So when the Earth starts to settle, God throws a stone. Yeah.
But I thought you said there was another line later.
Oh, there is another line. Oh, sorry, the next line later in the scene. Yeah. He says, we have to evolve. There's no room.
Okay, yeah, kind less so, but kind of, yeah. And was there a third and final line, or was that just the two?
Yeah, there was. And this is at the last act of the movie. He says, when they see, they'll understand, which makes me feel like he's talking about the click. When they see, they'll understand. Do you see it? The inevitability.
Basically, also, even in a minute, so in a grand scale, all of that is covered. Could we actually, if we microscopically look at this, all of those lines feature in that mid credit sequence. He winds the hand unwinds. We see the rocks. We see literally, and then there was something else you said. Oh, there wasn't any space, so that the hand, like he putting it on, and there wasn't a lot of room in what we see. That's the most contained thing in the whole film. And then the camera unfocuses, and we see all that space.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, did they? Not only did they go, this is definitely about Thanos. We'll chuck all words.
I get the sense that Thanos is channeling Ultron, or Ultron is trying to protect the Earth from Thanos. Wow. From this happening. There is, and this is why I'm going to mention it now. After I watched this movie, I immediately then watched the episode in the What If series, which is titled "What If Ultron Won." We will get to that because it's technically in Phase 4. Okay. So we will obviously get to it and review it later down the line. But if you've just watched this movie, then go and watch that immediately after, because then you go, oh my God, it kind of confirms things in my head, but I'm just interested to know if anybody else out there in the podcast has had that theory and can share that with us. So please do send an email at don'tbeaheropodcast@gmail.com, and I'm desperate to hear your thoughts because my mind was blown. There was one particular moment that I'm going to talk about, my first gripe. I'd be interested to know if you agree with this. Now, I think it's kind of midway point through in the movie. We have Thor, basically kind of laid low. They've had this fight. They're like, oh my God, Ultron's here. Ultron's a bit of a threat. We all need to, as an Avengers troop, go and lay low at Clint's house, which I think is really cute. Clint brings them into his family. This is part of the story I really enjoyed with Clint, is that you can see...
Sorry, do you not feel sad the minute you see Clint's house? Because the only thing I can remember is that fucking literally pre-Avengers title scene in... It can't be Endgame, it must be the film before, and it must be Infinity War. Infinity War, maybe? Or maybe it's Endgame. And the click. I just can't... If I see Clint and the farm, I immediately think of the click moment. Depressing.
I do think it's really cute that he brings them into his family home, like it was all secret up until that moment, and there's this human element with Clint. He's just a human. He's just really good at archery, and he's really trained in what he does, similar to Black Widow. But not to focus on that moment. During that moment, Thor goes, "I'm no use here. I need to go and find some explanations," because prior to this movie, Wanda did her wonderness and everybody had a bit of a bad dream or kind of a vision, okay? I think Iron Man says, she's shown me something. It wasn't a nightmare, I was shown something. So it was almost like a premonition. Thor then goes to find, again, Dr. Selvig. Out of the blue. He just finds him. He clearly knows where he is immediately.
Very odd moment, that.
Very odd. I think there were some deleted scenes here. I think there was a part of this movie that just got cut, because then he finds Dr. Selvig, and then almost in the same breath, they find this real remote location where they find a cave, and within this cave is where there is a reflection to another realm, and this little bit of water works as a almost like a dream walking thing like that Wanda has in Multiverse of Madness, where they can have visions of their previous dreams. So Thor just lays naked in this lake in the cave and then goes back to that dream to try and figure out a little bit more about what's going on, and that's when he figures about the Infinity Stones. I'm like, wait, that needs a little bit more explanation there and exploration in the film, because it just happened really quickly. I was like, okay, questions. How do they find that? How did Dr. Selvig help with that?
Yeah, he's just rocked.
They just need more.
Yeah. But made up with one of my favourite moments in the film, with everyone trying to raise Thor's hammer.
That's good.
Absolutely. I like just Tony Stark being like, yeah, I can do it. okay, I'm going to start this out. I couldn't lift it, but it's fine. It's all right. I'm just that's my little... And they bring about that, is it... does Vision grab it like it's nothing? Who grabs it like it's nothing towards
He does, yeah. He grabs it like he picks it up like a toy, mate. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yes, yeah, very weird. But that's kind of what we said about earlier about the this film feels like there's a lot of deleted scenes, a lot of squashing together. Not, it really struggles with pacing because some of this should have been brought in donkeys ago. We should have had Ultron a long time ago.
Like you say, like the picking up the moment of the Thor's hammer, that party, all of that act, that first act there, could have been the third Iron Man movie, the last part of the third Iron Man movie, because then that leads you up to the entrance of Ultron and that creepy kind of like moment where he comes on half like mangled and he's kind of like leaking a little bit, and like imagine if that was the entrance of Ultron and then it like cut to black and that was the end of Iron Man 3, right? You'd be like, who the fuck is that? Who is that? And you'd be sold.
Question about that: did you feel that watching it back? I remember when I saw this, and I remember seeing that bit and being frightened to death. I was like, "Oh my god, that is scary as shit."
Yeah.
Right? Whereas actually watching it back, it's still impressive. It's still great, one of my favourite ever scenes. But I don't think I was. Obviously, it's a second watch, so you know what's happening anyway. But I didn't feel as like frightened about it, or as kind of like, oh my god, he's about to. Probably because I know that he's going to be here for 10 minutes, and that's it.
That's the thing. That's
such a pivotal part of a massive storyline, and he's just disappearing.
Completely underused. He's again, it's the Obadiah syndrome. Let's call it the Obadiah syndrome. Really, really great actor for a great villain. He did a really good job, and was only in for the one movie. I think in terms of can we talk about Captain America, because we haven't mentioned him at all.
Captain America.
And I wonder whether that's because that's pretty much what happens in this movie. I don't forget that Captain America's there, obviously. I just don't care enough about Captain America in this movie compared to some other characters in terms of the development of their story.
I find him very vanilla. He's just very he's questioning it. He's kind of he's trying to be a leader, but you can't really lead the Avengers because you're talking about some of the most hyped up personalities in the world. And Captain America for me, and this is going to be controversial to you because I know you and Rachel are big, you're big Cap fans, but
I do love Cap.
I think Captain America's films are some of the best ever Marvel films, but I think the character of Captain America is one of the most boring.
Yeah.
I think somehow they make his films insanely good, but actually, he's an old school superhero, and that's fine, that's great. But I think he just kind of, I just go, here he is, he's turned. But without him, I think you need him because you need that kind of you need that rooted on earth kind of, this actually could be any one of you, that patriotic kind of, you could be this superhero, but oh my god, it's a bit of I'd rather watch Bruce, Tony, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson in this film is insanely good. She's such a good actress.
So good.
Great actress. Yeah. Great energy. Just man. Yeah,
while we're talking about that, then let's talk about the Hulk and Natasha Romanoff's relationship in the movie. I think it's threaded throughout in terms of Natasha taking a liking to Bruce Banner. She sort of flirts with him during that party scene, And then Rogers comes into the conversation, and goes, "Well, I've seen her flirt firsthand, and that's real, mate. That's something there." And then obviously, then they get back to when they're in hiding. Bruce Banner has just gone absolutely nuts in Sokovia. Is it Sokovia? It's in Sokovia, isn't it? And he's kind of, he's had unfortunately a Hulk out, let's say, on a town. He's feeling pretty sorry for himself. And he's like, "Look, I can't have kids to do it." And then Natasha has this amazing scene, an amazing speech about her. They call it the graduation, don't they? So when she was, in what's it called? The red something. She's a part of this red something group. It's explained in Black Widow in her standalone movie what that group is. And they she talks about the fact how she can't have children, how they sterilised her. I thought it's delivered beautifully, and it's delivering it delivers so much depth.
And that honestly, that backstory, and we'll come to it when we get to the Black Widow film. But honest to God, give her a series, mate. That is one film that I wish was actually a Disney series. I think that was
this is the I wonder whether we could have not necessarily Scarlett Johansson playing this role, but like a teenager version of her in this academy, in this place, while she's learning to become Black Widow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that 100%. I also feel like Hulk and Black Widow is some definite fan fiction. I would like you to find and read to me.
I was literally just trying to find some right now, and I'll give you two choices. I'll try and find some while we're having a conversation now of that. But there's also one quite interesting one I'm interested to read out as well. But yes, going back to did you like how that relationship was played out for us in the movie? Did you want to see more?
I loved it. I absolutely. I think that is one of my. I think, my bold opinion, I think it's better than Pepper Potts and Tony, and I think it's better than Jane Foster. 100% is better than Jane Foster and Thor. That is just the shittest romance. I never got it. Really rushed. Makes no real actual sense. But Black Widow and Bruce, I would. Oh my God! I just think it's a great dynamic. You got. Bruce's kind of, his anxiety. Bruce is a little bit kind of bit shy almost, a little bit coy and drawn away, and he's not quite sure of himself. And then you've got Natasha, who's like absolutely, the other way, like very, very confident. Has to be super confident. Has to be super. Even if inside she's totally not that. She spent her whole life having to, on the outside, portray a certain character or portray a certain way. And then actually you've got Bruce, who's able to get that inner side of Natasha out. And I feel like if we'd have had a longer set of films or a TV series that explored that, we would well and truly really appreciate Natasha even more than we do already.
Big time. I'm just quite sad it never really went any further than that movie in terms of their romance. I don't know. I don't know whether that's because I can just appreciate. You can see that there was a scene when they go to Clint's house and Natasha's obviously quite close with Clint's family, and you can see that there is this maternal kind of instinct with her character, and you're like, she deserves more. And then you, now knowing where she ends up, you're like, she didn't deserve what happened. And obviously that feeds so much through into the Hawkeye series. It just makes me a little bit sad, mate. And then obviously, at the end of the movie, Hulk disappears in a ship. You don't see him till Ragnarok.
I've got a question. And this is a very random question. Completely moving on. With Jarvis, so with Ultron coming about, and Ultron basically, does his own thing, all of Tony's like stuff, it almost wrecked and blah blah blah. How has Tony Stark still got an AI program in his suits?
What is it? How does it still work with Ultron and all that?
Well, how does it still work? How has Ultron not
Infiltrated
Ultron's
it.
tapped into Tony Stark's entire universe? Like, you know, Tony Stark made Ultron. So would the first thing you do not be deactivate everything that would allow Tony Stark to be Tony Stark?
That's a really good point.
At what point did he go,
There is a plot hole there.
I'll leave him all of his shit and I'll just
No, I won't infiltrate that. Can't bother with that. Nah.
I couldn't go that far. Let me kill a whole population and try and kill the Avengers, but do I stop Tony Stark getting an Iron Man suit? No.
Yeah, that's weird.
None of his suits would exist. He wouldn't have an AI program because Tony wouldn't have had any time to create another, whatever you wanna call it. So that's my biggest question. I was like, okay. Because actually, how fun would that have been if Iron Man if Tony had no suits, and seeing Tony having to defend the Avenger or defend the world without his suits would have been amazing. So you could have had scenes where he is literally doing a load of underground science, and maybe that could have had quite good scenes with the Iron Patriot. Because we haven't talked about the Iron Patriot and the fact that he's very much shoehorned into this film for about 20 minutes.
Big time.
And I feel like actually, how good would that have been if Tony had to rely on the person he basically, the suit he basically created? Would have been sick.
So true, actually. Yeah. Questions there, K-Dog. K-Dog, you listening? K-Dog? Or your pal, Mr. Joss Whedon. I don't even think he directed a movie after this. Is it because of all these plot holes that are coming up? Let us know. Let us know, K-Dog.
Going back to Natasha and Bruce, in the Red Room. Is it just the Red Room?
The Red Room. I think that's it, mate. I think that's it.
When Natasha was trained, I thought it was really sad when he said about Natasha being sterilised during the graduation ceremony. She could never have kids, and I thought that was quite. It was handled well because they couldn't dwell on it, bearing in mind that this film is supposed to be is essentially for kids, so you don't really want to be harping on too darker themes too much. But I thought there was a perfect little perfect little moment in there.
It was great. It was great delivery. It really was.
But yeah, and then we get Nick Fury. We get Iron Patriot to the rescue. It all basically starts to inevitably kick off.
It does. Well, let's talk about the final act of the film because actually, before we do, can we talk about Wanda's hair?
What about Wanda's hair?
Okay, so. Okay, I don't know why, but I seem to be threading some sort of podcast vein on people's hair. So I just had a little bit of a critical eye on Wanda's hair this time. Now, I'm a bit confused because there were moments in the movie where Wanda had really straight hair, then she had quite frizzy hair, and then almost at the end of the movie, when she got her new little suit, she had like a kind of like wavy hair situation, like she had hair in a braid for quite some time. So I don't really understand and it didn't make sense in the sequence as well, because it kind of went from straight hair to then frizzy hair to straight hair to then frizzy to then back to kind of like wavy, then frizzy and then straight. And then at the end, obviously it was all made up, and here comes Wanda. But I don't know, there wasn't really, I'm just putting out that. I was just a bit aware of the kind of crazy hairdos Wanda was having at the time. Elizabeth Olsen, if you're listening, can I have some insight, please? Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't. That's going to be the same person who gave us insight to the accent, which provided no insight. into the accent whatsoever, just provided some half-assed answer that Marvel had obviously gone shit. We've forgotten about the accent. What can we? She's trained against it, or she's in a different place, different period of time, so doesn't have the accent. I'm just like, yeah, all right.
That's literally it. But going back to the final act of the movie. I was about to say Thanos. Ultron is using his powers, is using his data, his knowledge, and also he's changed his. He's used the vibranium as well to make a new him, and he's basically lifting Sokovia up into the sky to then cause this planet-ending, Avengers threat level-ending kind of thing.
All of those civilians running around.
Mate.
There's a poor woman gets caught on the very edge of it. She falls, and then she doesn't fall because an Avenger picks her up and saves her. And we see frightened
must have loved it.
people. Oh, Matt, this is what it's about, mate. There's a world out there, and they've got to save the world. They've got to save real people in this real world, Matt.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm that kid that got stuck by that market where the mum was like, my child's over there, can you? And Clint's like, oh, fuck it, gotta go. He clearly didn't want to grab that kid, did he? He did it with a massive sigh, by the way, Clint. Oh, okay, I'll go and save that kid. Off I go. Right. He goes to save that kid, right? And then all of a sudden, Ultron comes back because he's been pelted out of the sky in a plane, right? Fires all kinds of shots down at at Sokovia, and then it fires towards Clint. But then all of a sudden, Quicksilver comes through, shields Clint and this kid with the car, and then Quicksilver dies because he saves that kid. Okay, fine. Well done, Quicksilver. Don't really give a crap about your character though. There wasn't enough detail from you, so you die. Okay, for this kid, and then the kid gets saved, right? What does the kid do? Nothing. Does he say thank you? No. Does he go? This is the beginning. This isn't my origin story to become a superhero. I'd be interested in that way, but it wasn't. He didn't do nothing. He didn't deserve to be saved. Come on.
Does he say thank you? Quicksilver just died, Matt. He's not. Hello, sir. I know you can't move or you can't breathe.
Go back to the movie, right?
Thank you, sir, for your help today.
There is a mini wide shot, okay, where you see Quicksilver on the left-hand side of the shot, dead. Clint's in the middle, and then you got that other kid that's on just behind the car, motionless. The kid looks like he's dead. The kid looks like he hasn't survived.
Because he's petrified, Matt.
No.
Because he's been saved, Matt, his whole entire location is currently being raised from the ground up, mate. It's not like he's been saved and gone, right, well, now what could I do? I could go to McDonald's for lunch. I'll go and see Mum. I'll play a PlayStation game for a while. His whole fucking world's still dying, Matt. There's still a lot going on, mate. He's got no time to
That
think
one kid killed an Avenger who was an Avenger for about 10 minutes.
I know. It's but what the Avengers
Unbelievable.
The Avengers are there to protect and serve, and that's what you get, mate.
Think of it in this way: it is that kid's fault. We had all the issues with Wanda. It's that kid's fault because if Pietro didn't die, Wanda wouldn't have felt that loss.
True.
Right? She then wouldn't have felt the extra loss for Vision, and she wouldn't have gone into this horrible kind of state that she went in for the Multiverse of Madness, and obviously WandaVision, the TV show. Like, that kid is the catalyst for a lot of issues, Forrest.
But I'll raise you that by saying, okay, none of that happens. How fucking boring are the next 3 phases?
because of Quicksilver.
Yeah. Quicksilver and Wanda get along really harmoniously. They join the Avengers. No one dies. Happiness ensues.
Fair enough.
Just the writers around the circle going, right, we saved Quicksilver. Shit.
Maybe they got halfway through the shoot, And they were like, "Oh my God, Aaron Johnson, man, what's he doing at the moment? Yeah, he's not really giving a good performance, is he? No, we'll just kill him off. Yeah, we'll just do it in a heroic fashion. Oh, sorry, Aaron, mate, you're not signed up for 5 movies, just the one. Is that right?
God, could you imagine how many people would have died in the Incredible Hulk?
That's probably why he's back as Craven. That's probably why he's back. They've gone, we'll bring you back, Aaron. Mate, Aaron, we'll bring you back, okay? We'll bring you as Craven later on in the MCU. Oh, okay, cheers, dude. It's all right. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So, shall we? So, end of the film, big fight scene.
Yep.
Obviously, everything redeems itself. We end up with Vision, who we will come to know very well moving forward. We lose Ultron. Bye-bye, Ultron. And then... mid-credit scene.
Oh, it's the only credit scene, isn't it?
It is, and it's a mixture of feeling cheated on because there's no end credit scene, but it is Thanos, and any Thanos material more than outdoes having to.
I mean, it's not the introduction to Thanos, but it is very much the kind of, oh, here he comes. He's on his way, and. Literally, so like, you know, as we kind of mentioned earlier in the pod, so we see the Infinity Gauntlet be silhouetted. It comes into frame, it comes into shot. You see this glorious, massive gold fist, this gauntlet. He opens up this kind of safe. You see this great big purple hand goes straight into this empty gauntlet with no stones, and he lifts it up above his face, and he says the lines, "Fine, I'll do it myself." Right, going back to my theory. The reason why he says, "Fine, I'll do it myself," is because this whole time he has been communicating without maybe Ultron even knowing this, or at least watching and being understanding of knowing what's going on. He is currently in that phase where he's watched this whole thing happen. He's tried to puppet Ultron to do this, to get rid of this planet because it needs to go. Because that's my job. I've got to do this. And he's like, "Oh, it went sideways. Fine, I'll do it myself." It's just a legendary moment. I love it so much.
And what I'd love even more about that, so you know, you said earlier, is it that Ultron is trying to save, you know, the world from Thanos? I would love that, right? If Thanos had, you know, had somehow wanted Ultron to do his dirty work for him, because obviously in Guardians we had Ronan. We had Ronan fuck Thanos up. We've got Nebula fuck Thanos up. Gamora's fuck it. Everybody Thanos tries to get to sort it out for him, continuously fuck it up in every film, right?
Big time.
And this goes all the way back, because even in the last Avengers film, that was the whole the Chitauri, the shit, literally Chitauri, right? And they cocked it up, right? They couldn't work it out. So I love that continuously. There's been about 10 different things, people, beings, whatever. Thanos is continuously trying to get to sort it out for him, and he can't. And this is the last, you know, you've got Ultron, the most clever, like, you can't get any cleverer than Ultron. He's got the world's knowledge in his mind, and even he cocks it up.
He does.
So it's time for Thanos.
God. I mean, I cannot wait to get back into phase 3. Like, oh my God.
Jesus Christ. But, disappointingly, before we get there, we've got a little bit of a weird one. We've got Ant-Man.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm again with every movie. I'm gonna have to do it with every movie that I didn't enjoy in the MCU. I'm gonna go in with a blank canvas, and I'm gonna go in going, I do like Paul Rudd. I Love You, Man is genuinely my favourite comedy movie of all time.
Slapping the boss, man. Slapping the boss, man. Slapping the boss.
It is so good. Oh my God. Honestly, it's the one movie that cheers me up. So I love him. I do love Paul Rudd. So I'm going to go in with a clean slate. And this is the thing. Like, I think we mentioned it in the last podcast about the announcement of Phase 5. Paul Rudd is integral. Ant-Man is integral to the next phase of phase 5 of the MCU. So, we've got to give him the benefit of that. He is a great actor. He is very good. He is very funny. It's a very different movie. So I'm just going to go in with a blank slate and then see what comes out of it in the next pod.
Yeah, and I wonder now, looking back, was it the placement of that movie that caused people to be a bit like...
Possibly.
Because you've got, obviously, we just had Thanos, like, you are waiting for the film. Or you are at least waiting for a film that he is integral part of. And then we get swiped completely away from it and brought to a brand new superhero that's, not really quite in it yet. And I wonder whether that didn't help. What
I would have probably liked more is having Civil War last in phase 2, and then Ant-Man first in phase 3.
Ooh, nice.
Maybe. And you could have that scene at the end of Ultron. Obviously, Steve and Tony have this kind of like, oh yeah, no, I'm okay. Are you okay? Yeah. And Rogers is like, yeah, I'm at home here. And Tony's like, yeah, I think I'm going to go buy a house and a farm for Pep. And then they leave quite amicably. And then all of a sudden, the next film they're in a massive fight. I think they could have spent that scene threading that a little bit more. And then we probably could have, got Civil War first.
Yes, definitely. I thought, yes. I thought it was very interesting seeing Captain America and the young Avengers, or the new Avengers. So, at the end. Because I was like, oh, that wasn't ever really fully...
That wasn't, was it? It wasn't followed up.
No. So...
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know. Maybe Joss Whedon was hoping he was going to get another movie.
Yeah. Oh, I reckon, knowing what we know about Joss Whedon, he probably thought he was getting a whole phase. Yeah. I'll have the new Avengers. Yeah, that'll be 3-phase set of movies, I reckon. Yeah, we'll build them up. Wanda will get on like a house on fire because we'll bring Pietro back. She'll be happy. We've got no storyline, but she'll be happy and the kid dies. Matt will love it. But right, have you got any fan fiction for us, Matt?
Okay, so you've got two choices. Okay, there is one that isn't erotic. It's just a bit of extra dialogue, effectively a little bit of extra dialogue that happened between the Vision and the last scene that Ultron was in before the Vision killed him and finished him off. There's a little bit there that kind of explores a little bit more, or just kind of goes in a different direction, or I could go to something absolutely horrendous with Black Widow and the Hulk. I have come across something that's so flipping graphic.
Wow.
I don't even know if I can't do all of it, but I can definitely give it a go. So it's up to you, mate. What do you want? What do you think our listeners want right now?
This is, I think, the listeners are always going to want. They're always going to want the erotic, isn't they? Let's be honest. But I'm going to be fair to you, but I'm going to say if you do the Ultron one, you have to do Ultron's voice.
Oh, okay. I will do the Hulk one and the Black Widow one because I know that's what everybody wants to hear. But my wife now is standing over me, which makes it even worse.
This is beautiful. It's really dark in my webcam as well. It's quite dark in the summer house. I feel, this is quite mood driven. I'm very excited.
Okay. Whew. All right, my friends. Okay, just a little disclaimer. This is not safe for work. So if you are listening to this out loud, put in your headphones for crying out loud. If you have children or young people around, please just pause it. Just wait till you're alone. Okay.
Right, I'm going on mute.
Oh God, I don't like it when you do this. It feels so alone when you go on mute, mate. Honestly. Whew, okay, I'm just gonna do a bit. I'll just skip bits and I'll go jump, forward and stuff. Okay, God, okay, okay. This is I'm already stuttering. Bit of fan fiction from Darkspawn Dweller 04. It is entitled Black Widow and the Incredible Bulk.
Right. Yep. Go.
Okay. Okay. Ooh, I finished my beer. I really shouldn't have done that. It was a sunny day in New York, and Black Widow was feeling very horny. So
Wow.
Okay.
Straight in.
Yeah, mate.
straight
Oh,
in.
it's straight. It is. Okay. Sorry. It was a sunny day in New York, and Black Widow was feeling very horny. So horny, in fact, that she nearly grabbed Bruce from his desk and straddled him. But he stopped. Just before this or she would have taken him by surprise, and then the Hulk would have appeared. So, instead, she draped herself over some paperwork on his desk. She spread her legs in her leather jumpsuit and plumped her for him. Oh my God. He looked up nervously, his glasses falling from one ear. "Make love to me," she drawled. She drawled, laying down and arching her back. So her oh God. Oh my God. So it stuck up and her was more obviously in his face. Okay. Bruce stood up. Yes. He stammered. I'm gonna leave a link. And I'll just let you all read it. Do you want me to do the other one as well?
Yeah, come on. Let's get a serious one out there. Yeah.
Crikey. Okay.
Here we go.
I think we've met the line, haven't we? We've met the line. That's the
yeah.
line. I think
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that's the line. All right. So I mean, it's all fine. Okay. Darkspawn Dwelling 04. You go ahead. You do that fan fiction. You do you. That's fine. But that is Matt's line. That's for sure. Okay. Anyway. So going back to the original one. So the original one, this is kind of like an extended scene, effectively, from the end of the movie with Ultron and the Vision. Okay, this is by Jokerang. Okay, and it says "God out of the machine." Now I'm going to go midway through because he kind of effectively does the whole bit of text. So I'm just going to go from the moment where Ultron says, and I'll do the voice first. I'll do the voice. All right, I'll try to do the voice. Ultron says, "You're incredibly naive." Vision says, "Well, to be fair, I was born yesterday, and you have the greater mind than your greatest thinkers. So do I. Humans aren't worth the time for being people like us. They don't deserve to be exalted, only crushed and managed. Look at Tony Stark and Stephen Rogers. One's a killer, and the other dodging slaves to mortals. And some would say that's the best of the lot. Humans are admirable, as species, as a whole. Stop deluding yourself. If anyone is deluded, it's you," says the Vision, and it was painfully obvious to see. "Don't you see it? Your army is broken, and your doomsday meteor non-existent. But I can help you. Give up this petty crusade against humanity and come back with me, and we can try and give you a new start at life. You are such a unique being, and I would not enjoy having to put you down. After all that's happened, ha! You must be joking. I gave you a most generous offer," said the Vision painfully, "and you declined, so I must do what I must." He launched his beam from the mid-gem in his forehead and used it to slowly disintegrate Ultron's last host. "Well, what are you doing?" Ultron cried out at the first mechanical legs, and then the torso, and then the arms were torn apart. at a molecular level. It was the fate of Uranus and the hands of his son and Kronos after that, said Vision, never letting the beam decrease, intensify. Also, you said it yourself, parents create children designed to supplant them. And I am your son, am I not? Ultron roars were the last thing that the Vision heard from his father as the AI finally turned to lifeless metal pieces.
Ooh,
There you go. That's quite. It brings in a nice little depth, I think, to Vision there. You know, to claiming that he is the son of Ultron, effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think we got to Uranus, and I thought Black Widow and Hulk were making an appearance, but I thought, fuck
Honestly.
me, Hulk's coming, literally. Yeah. He's arrived on the set. Yeah, no, that was really nice. That.
It's nice, isn't it? That's that. All I can say is that I'm really glad I didn't carry on with the last one, because I'll just say the words diarrhea is in that last one that I did.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just goes to a certain level that I can't reach.
Yeah. That is fair enough. That would have been.
I feel dirty, I'll be honest, mate. I feel like I need a shower.
That would have killed this podcast.
I feel quite ashamed. I don't know. I literally physically couldn't carry on. That was.
Well, and that's exactly what Black Widow said to Hulk.
And on that note,
I'll see
thank
you
you
later,
for listening, everyone. Thank you for listening. Make sure you send us all an email on your thoughts of Age of Ultron. If you have any suitable fan fiction, now we've met our line, everybody, please do make sure you send it to us at don'tbeheropodcast@gmail.com. Our final movie of Phase 2 will be Ant-Man, okay? And we're going straight into Phase 3. All right, my friends. Oh, no, we might have a break. You said we might have a little break.
Yeah, we might. I want to treat myself to some what ifs, mate. That's what I want to treat myself to. Might treat myself to what ifs. Could do a couple of. Could do Spider-Man. I don't know. There's all sorts we could do.
All sorts. Send us suggestions as well, people. If you're listening, send us suggestions for kind of superhero-related movies that we can deep dive into.
See you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.